right, all right. Thank you for staying put in there, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I would love you to go ahead and quickly hit your share button so I can come to you with this broadcast proper. Please hit your share button and let every Ambazonian out there know the anchorman is not live. He is alive. So please hit your share button. Hit your share button. We got so much to talk about today. Let me bring you some of the headlines that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about, of course, the lockdown that intensifies in Fako. Tomorrow, a serious lockdown in Fako tomorrow. If you are anywhere in Fako, please remember the lockdown intensifies tomorrow. I'm going to be coming back to that. And of course, I'm going to be talking about the Calais that we are learning of in Motengene, and of course, Victoria, Tiko, Boya. We're going to be talking about that. We'll also be talking about the women up in Bamenda standing up and trying to reclaim their rights from the colonial officials in Bamenda. We're going to be talking about that too. And I want to announce that Bishop John Egiawan, the Secretary for Defense here at the interim government, the cousin was abducted by French Cameroon soldiers in Mawutu. Today, we're going to be talking about that, and also we're talking about Ndu, where we learn the colonial SDO, one Adamo Suwabu Ibrahim, is sealing down every shop in that community and asking people to show up only on Mondays. We will talk about that. And of course, the big subject of the day is the new government in the USA and their diplomacy on this Ambazonian conflict. We're going to be looking detailedly into that. And I have with me here today Comrade Sylvester Zama, who is the Under-Secretary for Foreign Affairs here at the interim government. I also have Comrade Emma Osong of AC, and also, of course, Sentum Bo Herbert will be here in the panel. Joining me, I will also be having Comrade Sama Thomas, who is the spokesperson for Mezam County, updating us with the security situation in Mezam and Bamenda in particular. So, ladies and gentlemen, these are the things we're going to be talking about today. As usual, I will go ahead and start, but please, you make sure you hit that share button, and let's beat every record today with the views here on the social media, talking about Facebook. So please go ahead and hit your share button, and at the end of the day, if time permits, I will open the phone lines to take a number of calls, especially from those of you on ground zero. So please go ahead, hit your share button. I don't see the numbers rising to my liking, but I want to believe that those of you joining, we hit the share button and get the links to every social media group that you have out there. I'm talking about Instagram, WhatsApp, your Facebook groups, Twitter. Get the links out there. All right. I just want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, that we have the ABC app. We have the ABC app out there for every one of you. You want to watch ABC 24/7? Please go to Play Store and download the app. Unfortunately, we are still working on the iOS version of the ABC app. But those of you with Android phones, you can download ABC app now. And the one thing really nice with the app is that if you are anywhere in Europe, in Asia, in the USA, anywhere you are with a smartphone, you can actually configure that app to broadcast directly on your TV. It has a feature there. I don't know what they call it, but I know for sure that the feature is there. After live shows like this, you are still able to watch ABC 24/7 after live shows like this one. That is something that is very important. So please get on to Play Store, download ABC app for your own good, for your own good. Now, please, I am looking forward to you hitting that share button. I need at least 700 people to get started with this show proper, while I do some in-house laundry here. But please, I see the numbers are jumping now. Please hit your share button. So please, again, I'm reminding you of the ABC app. Get there to the Play Store. If you have an Android phone, download the app and watch ABC 24/7. Watch ABC 24/7 on ABC app. All right. Now, this is very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, we lost one of our own. We lost one of our own. I am talking about Honorable Daniel Koo, the Honorable Daniel Koo. That was the way he loved to be called. You are looking at this image on your screen right now. The Honorable Daniel Koo. Daniel Koo was this interim government's ambassador. I will call him Ambazonia's ambassador to the United Nations in New York. He lived in New York. Unfortunately, he went home. He went home just too soon last week. We are calling upon every Ambazonian. We are appealing to every Ambazonian out there. Please, let us stand. Let us all stand with the family of Daniel Koo, support them to conduct the funeral of this brother who was a wonderful comrade in this struggle. He was a true fighter, When you heard of all the rallies, and I mean all the rallies in New York, this brother was behind those rallies. He was behind those rallies. He knocked every door at the United Nations in New York on behalf of Ambazonia. He knocked every major door organization I remember the R. Sharpton organization called the Rainbow. No, that is Jesse Jackson called Rainbow. But I remember him talking to me about meeting with R. Sharpton in New York. We talked about so many things, but just so unfortunate that this brother went home too soon. But this is the moment. This is the moment, ladies and gentlemen, that we all Ambazonians, remember him, stand with his family, support the funeral, whatever that you can give, even if it is only $10. The family needs it. The family needs it. And so, unfortunately, I don't have the GoFundMe address, but please, if you go to GoFundMe and just go paying tribute to Daniel, paying tribute to Daniel, go to GoFundMe and search for paying tribute to Daniel and make a generous contribution for the funeral of this our comrade. He deserves it. He was there. He was there for all of us. Let's remember him in these last days, the very last support that we can give to him. So please, I am pleading with all of you, go to GoFundMe and support the funeral drive for Honorable Daniel Koo. God bless you all as you do so. God bless you all as you do so. It is very, very important that we do that. Very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I will now jump all the way to FACO, ladies and gentlemen. I will jump to FACO. This is very, very important. Now, you know that lockdown intensifies in FACO tomorrow. Tomorrow is Saturday, January the 23rd. French Cameroon is planning to host one of those their matches, Chan matches, in our stadium in Victoria. Now remember, again, we are not conducting a lockdown to stop the matches, because we know for sure that La République du Cameroon won't mind playing those matches in an empty stadium. And they will tell the world that because of COVID-19, you know, they so care for Ambazonians that they didn't want them to come to the stadium to get infected with COVID-19. And so this is the point. Again, we are not instituting this lockdown to stop those matches. We are merely taking security measures to make sure that you stay home. Those of you in Victoria in particular, FACO in general, that you remain safe. You remain safe. Do not go anywhere on Saturday. That is tomorrow, the 23rd of January. We say so because we don't want you to get in between a bullet, between the terrorist forces from La République du Cameroon and Ambazonia restoration forces. Ladies and gentlemen, we have won. La République du Cameroon and all these African nations participating in this illegal championship in Ambazonia, that they are not welcome, and that we cannot guarantee the security for Ambazonia, in FACO in particular. It's a war zone. It's a war zone. And we are not going to adjourn or postpone this war for a single day because some foreign matches are being played there. No. And so we have warned the countries and the players involved that we will not spare La République du Cameroon forces in our territory should we find them, especially on this occasion where they forced this tournament on our territory. So again, we are appealing to you. Stay home, lock down and remain home. Not because that match will be stopped with a lockdown, but for your own security. For your own security. We witnessed the first match they played last Tuesday, the 19th. The stadium was empty. The stadium was completely empty. Now, this is what La République is trying to do now to get some people into that stadium tomorrow. They are actually trying to force spectators into that stadium in Victoria tomorrow. That is what La République is doing. And so, early this morning, some of you heard the audio that I put out there. Early this morning in Mutengene, between Mutengene Tiko, Mutengene Victoria, Mutengene Moliwe, Mutengene Boya, they set out to conduct what they call in French, Calais. Of course, you all know about that. I was very young, very young when in those colonial days I saw the military came into our village. They went to the market square on the market day and arrested every adult in the market to present, and they asked them to present your tax receipt. And if you didn't have an ID card, you were also forced to bribe them before you could be set free. That is the tactic that La République du Cameroon is employing today. So early this morning, they all swarmed Mutengene Boya Road. They swarmed Mutengene Moliwe Road. They swarmed Mutengene Tiko, and they started picking up people, loading them up in trucks and taking them to where we do not know. Now, the information we are receiving is that they are now trying to take these guys into the stadium in Victoria tomorrow to pretend so many fans showed up in the stadium to watch the football tournament. That is what they are trying to do. In some other cases, we have learned that they are actually bribing people. 2,000 francs. 2,000 francs to show up in those matches. To show up in that match at the stadium tomorrow. That is what La République du Cameroon is doing. But listen, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, ladies and gentlemen. We are asking you we are asking you to stay home. If you live anywhere in Victoria, in Tico, in Mutengene, in Maifo, in Boya, Muya, Moyoka, Ekona, please stay home. We do not want you to get in between a bullet that comes either from the terrorists from French Cameroon or the Ambazonia Restoration Forces. We do not want you to fall victim. And we have also warned you, avoid taking any bus to anywhere. Avoid taking a bus to anywhere, not just on lockdown, but on any regular day. On any regular day, avoid taking a bus, ladies and gentlemen, to anywhere. This is very, very important. And again, lockdown intensifies. Lockdown intensifies tomorrow. Lockdown intensifies tomorrow. I am trying to locate my correspondent here in Victoria to give us an update of what is going on there right now. I hope he picks the phone. I hope he picks the phone. Okay. I hope he picks the phone. If he doesn't, maybe we will do that in the course of the broadcast. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. The lockdown intensifies tomorrow and then continues on the 26th and on the 27th. All right, I think I got my comrade from the ground available now to give us updates of what is happening in the Victoria. Hello, sir.
Hello, Secretary Chris. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir. How are you doing today?
Fine, sir. We are doing fine.
All right. So tell us what is going on in the Fako, Victoria in particular today. We understand there was this Calais up in Mutengene and the surroundings this morning. Were the people all released?
For now, all of them are not yet released, and they are trying to play some politics because tomorrow is football, and know that last week, the last match, there was no fans in the field, so they are trying to keep some that they have controlled, and they claim to say these are the real supporters of the football match. So that is what is going on now here in Limbe, here in Victoria, and the gendarme, they had a meeting. If you are an English, from the English zone as a gendarme, you were not in that meeting. So we don't know what was conspiring between the Francophones there in that meeting.
So there was a meeting held by the gendarme. Where precisely? In Mutengene, in Victoria, or where?
In Victoria,
that was
in Victoria. They are at Bota. Yeah.
That was today.
It was a secret meeting.
Okay, that was today.
That was today.
And what have you heard? What have you heard coming from the meeting?
Yeah, what we have really got from the meeting is that they are still trying to put our people in more pains and arresting bikes, refusing bikes not to cross half mile, not to go around town, but they want people to go to the field. And there was a meeting with some people who are selling tickets for the matches, and it was like they are trying to bring in some people. They want to use one university bus. I don't know whether it's a bus from Douala or it's a bus from Boya, but it's a university bus that will carry some people. And likewise, the boys should be vigilant because some people may take may enter into this thing tonight from Bas Naval, Douala, and arrive at Limbe at the WAF. So those things, we are hearing rumors like that, sir.
Yeah, we have learned that they plan to transport people through Tico WAF to Bota tonight, and then get them into the stadium tomorrow.
Yes, and most of them, the ones that are transporting, most of them are military. You know, last match they have to transport the the referees inside an armored car. And so now this time the people are trying to play fast because they are using people, trying to see some of these francophones who are living at the Sokolo Cité Sonara, Mukundange, Ngeme, all those people, they are collaborating with the colonial master that they will watch match, they will give them on discount of entering the fee. So that is what is going on really now, because they know people, the population in Victoria, to be frank with you, they are not happy with what is going on in Limbe, because instead of happiness, the colonial government is putting them in pains, harassing people. Movement is difficult. When bikes are not circulating, movement is really difficult. We don't have a lot of taxis here in Limbe, apart of motorbike taxi.
Now, you told me something earlier today that they have women disguising as vendors, carrying these vending bikes, going around pretending as if they are doing sales, but whereas they are actually spies for the military. Can you tell us the story again, please?
Yes, these are women who are doing, like, they are doing provision sales and vandals. They carry their bags, they are moving from places to places, and even they will come to your house, they will approach you as marketers, they will talk to you. These are landed women, landed girls, beautiful girls, and they speak English very well, and they speak Pidgin very well, so they don't have any access of a francophone, but they are working for the information of the colonial government.
And have you had any encounter with any of them, or do you know anyone who has had an encounter with any of them to know precisely what they ask for when they come in?
Yeah, some of them, when they come, they try to, like, when they see where people are gathered and young boys are there, then try to make as if they are doing publicity sales, and they try to listen from their discussion. If they don't get any discussion, and motorbikes men have understood that this is what is going on. Most of them, where they used to gather at their junction, they don't more gather there because they are afraid of what is happening. They are just moving up and down. And when the women are going out, they try to get information to see whether they will say, this problem is like this. They will try to talk about the problem. In few places, they were in cassava farms, precisely. They were at half mile, they were moving at half mile. They will meet some people. When you are really well dressed, they will try to talk with you, like, to tell you, like, what is going on. They don't like to see what is your response to them. Okay. And they are doing like that. They have a walking, talking, they have a recording, they are recording machine at their back.
So as they go about approaching people, talking to them, they are recording.
Yeah.
And again, they are mostly girls, young girls.
Yeah, these are young girls. That is a new strategy they are using, because they know people can easily fall cheap when it comes to women issue. Some people can just discuss and say these are women. They are not just male women. They are
they think that they consider women to be harmless, correct?
Yeah, they consider them to be harmless, but these are well-trained and educated ladies.
Now, you also mentioned to me that one of the tactics they are also employing is getting young men into their trucks. They drive around town and pretend as if they are regular. They are. Did you say that they are players? Whereas, yes, go on.
Yes, these are the tactics they are using. Guinean, we don't have Guinea people here in Limbe, and when the day Guinea was to play, then took a Ron's car, a chassis number was not matriculated. There were military people. We saw some military people that we know. I know them. They were inside with the flap placed at the bonnet of the car, the runs, and they were moving around with a large horn and making as if these are supporters from Guinea. So we discovered that these are just propaganda that La Republic is trying to do, and they are playing. Because even now, as I'm talking to you, at half mile, police are everywhere, gendarmes are everywhere. They are entering into quarter. They will take some private cars, enter into quarter to control. They are controlling cars now. Open the boot, bring everything down, checking everything, trying to control that. Now they have seen that the bike men are trying to escape from them. They have started with the vehicles, personal cars. They will check everything. They are not really checking anything like document. They will open the boot, bring every load down.
Okay.
That they are controlling the car to see whether there is no weapon or this car is not transporting our restoration fighters.
So have they arrested anybody? Are they arresting people in Victoria?
For now, they have not arrested people. It was early in the morning. They were seizing bike, but by 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, they stopped and just started driving bikes not to cross half mile, not to pass. And the bike riders also, they are very intelligent because they know that if your bike is being seized, you are going to pay 25,000 francs, except you have a colleague or a brother. And there are some who up as a brother to the bike riders, collect money from them, go there and say these are their brothers, and they will still pay 25,000 to release their bike. So that is what they are doing now, raising money for their own selfish aim that they know by themselves.
Now, what are you hearing in Victoria right now about the march tomorrow? Anybody talking about going there?
No, for now, nobody is really concentrated in that sector, Chris. To be honest with you, the people are really hurt and they are not happy. The few people you will see them talk, people are not even talking. Even the last screen they put out, it is being placed at half mile. You see, we know our country, we know Ambazonia. They are good lovers of football, but you will see nobody is having time to. People are not drawing attention to that. They are not drawing much attention to that, Secretary Chris. Everybody is really concerned in his or her own duty, daily activity. So that match is no event with the people of Ambazonia.
Wonderful. Good to hear that. Now, are they very much aware of the lockdown tomorrow?
Yeah, some people are really confused, and that's why we were saying that you should come up with intensive lockdown explanation to the people. People were like, because some of them forgot the dates. There were some around town we were moving. They were talking of we don't know. Tomorrow is the 23rd, and now that you are on, I know because they are really watching you in Ground Zero here, still in Victoria. People are watching you. Where they're getting Amber TV Live, some are watching you through their Facebook. And here now what they are doing, they're trying to scramble the network here in Southwest. At times you got us like this is by luck, and it is by chance because they are scrambling the network. I tell you, make calls will not go. It will be ringing, but the person pick, you will not hear what he or she is talking.
Okay. So, well, we thank God that they are able to get us. Anything you want to mention before you leave?
Yes, just to inform our people that they should be very vigilant and they should stay safe. People should know when they say we should stay home, people should not go out. They should just respect for that few seconds, that few hours, and then they stay home for safety, because their plan is that they should not be gathering in a place, because these people just want that boys should be gathering in a place, and then something will come up and they start doing their rough work and they are doing as usual. It's just to inform our people and I let them to know that when we call for this, it is not because we are not fighting for this for nothing. We are fighting for something that will make our children enjoy the future of our land in Ambazonia. So people should respect the lockdown and stay away from troubles.
All right. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate this information. Remain connected and keep me informed of what is going on there, please.
Okay, Secretary, please. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it. If you are in FACO, please stay home. Stay home for your own good, for your own safety and security. stay home tomorrow. It will be a serious lockdown, and the Ambazonian Restoration Forces, they are out there doing everything to make sure that it goes successfully, and that colonial march force upon Victoria doesn't take place tomorrow. Let's get to Bamenda right now. Listen to this.
And I'm talking about very talk all my belly. It don't say for all country where war they need to drive mayor. Maybe so. I want to say the thing where it make them for mayor them for Cameroon or mayor them for Northwest and Southwest they get problem. So Monday we don't know. So the thing where it make them drive for all office because now we be supposed to vote mayor them.
That is a powerful Amba woman. That is a powerful Amba woman, ladies and gentlemen. They think where a drive mayor them for their office for all of Ambazonia. Wanna no. This mayor them wanna no. They say not the same thing. It drive them out of their shops, out of the market squares in all of Ambazonia, not just in Bamenda. Now this is coming on the heels of French Cameroon colonial SDOs in Indu and the colonial mayors in Bamenda, sealing up people's shops unless they agree to step out on Mondays, which they know for the past 4 years has been a ghost day, unless the people agree to step out on those ghost days to have their shops open. And I love this woman. These are real women, not the snot woman, is it Northwest, Southwest, blah, 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 woman, something of Salim, Bomwen, and the rest. These are real women. These are real women, ladies and gentlemen. They asked the mayor one question, and I wish that mayor would step out and answer that question. Let me tell you, the mayor of Batable is using an office on the, I think they say, is it 2nd Street downtown Bamenda, or sometime Bamenda, the colonial mayor of Bamenda, they call it Bamenda 2. He uses an office there. He has escaped from his own office all the way in Batable to Bamenda. And we also have even the mayor of Bafut is using an office in the premises of Bamenda Council. He has escaped from Bafut and he is up there. I also understand even the mayor, colonial mayor of Indu, is using an office in upstation in Bamenda. They all cannot use their own, cannot function in their own communities. But they want the same thing they are running from. They want the locals in these communities to go out and do. The mayor of Bamenda cannot use his own office in downtown. He cannot even live in his own home. These people, they are all surrounded by the military, but they are forcing these shop owners to go and open their shops, and these same thugs, these same criminals, frauds, in the name of these colonial officers, they will be the same ones to go out and harass this woman and harass these shop owners for opening their shops on Mondays. I can assure you that. So I will say to all of you shop owners, particularly this woman up there in Bamenda who objected like that lady in Kumba, please, you took the right decision. When the mayors get back to their offices, the colonial mayors get back to their offices in Bamenda, in Bafut, in Batable, in Indu, and every other place else, even down in the Boya, Kumba, and so on. Then tell them you will have the courage to go out, open your shops on Mondays to do business as they want you to do. up in Ndu. The colonial mayor has sealed every shop in Ndu, and they are forcing the people of Ndu they can only open their shop, they can only be allowed to open their shops on Mondays. On Mondays. Failing that, no other day, the shops will remain sealed. And from the part of this interim government, ladies and gentlemen, those of you out there in Abakwa, Ndu, and places like that, Ndop, Bui, and so on, listen, we are observing. If they think they can shut down your business, we will also shut down their own business. Now they are getting people to go sleep in their offices on Sunday night so they can work on Monday. Look at what they are doing. They force people to get to their offices Sunday night, and then so they can be able to work on Monday. Imagine how desperate these guys have become. I think Angie was in Bamenda the other day and he said the war is over and Paul Biya has won. If the war is indeed over, why are they sneaking to their offices, and why are the colonial mayors and SDOs not able to use or get to their own offices? If the war is over and won, why can't they do normal business? So I am challenging the colonial mayors in Bamenda, the LGOs in Bamenda. Those shops will remain shut. Those shops will remain. Every shop in that county, those counties will remain shut down, not until we have called off Monday's ghost towns. And the next thing we are going to do, if you think you can deprive the regular person, the normal people, their livelihood, we are going to make sure that you are entangled and you cannot do business, administrative business as usual in Bamenda. The days are coming. We can promise you that day is surely coming. I am joined with Comrade Sama Thomas, who happens to be the security chief in the Mezam, and I think he put out a message a few days ago, I think it was yesterday, to the effect that La République du Cameroon is sending in 3,000 troops. 3,000 troops into Bamenda, perhaps to Ndu too. We also saw the circular by the Ndu colonial officer, one Ibrahim Shuaibu Adamu, asking that every shop be sealed, and we believe these soldiers, terrorist soldiers that are being sent to Bamenda, they are meant to go and enforce these shutdowns. But we have also learned they will turn around and burn some of these shops and markets so they can say, Amber boys carried out the arson. Why would Amber boys carry out the arson? For 4 years, Amber boys never burned a shop anywhere. Why would they burn any shop now? Ladies and gentlemen, you'll find, in fact, let me say this. We have whole communities. According to statistics, we have over 300 communities out there that have been burnt down, not by Amber boys, but by French Cameroon so-called security forces. Whole communities burnt down, and the inhabitants left as internally displaced persons. Who is doing so? The world knows it is not Ambazonia fighters, it is French Cameroon terrorist soldiers who are burning down communities and leaving the inhabitants homeless. So let me get Comrade Sama Thomas to join me. Can you bend your camera a little bit, please? Comrade Sama, bend your camera a little bit. Okay, that looks good. All right. Thank you for joining me, sir. We want you to tell us what you know. Now, before I get to you, I just want to remind people again, this breaking story that was sent to me while I was coming on live about the raising of PSS Mancon. I think they call it PHS Mancon now. PSS Mancon is on fire. It's on fire. It's burning. as I come to you, I just received that information. Who is behind it, we do not yet know, but that is the news that I received while I was coming on live. PSS Mancon in Atuakum is on fire. Comrade Sama, tell us, have you heard anything about this?
Good evening or good afternoon and happy New Year's in the feast, and good evening fellow Southern Cameroonians in Ground Zero, and happy New Year to all of you in the land of our birth. Though with the difficulties that we are going through, I think God Almighty is going to lead us, going to help us through our challenges. Secretary Chris, I think that the situation in Bamenda, like I said yesterday, I made mention of the burning of the market, main market and the food market, but I never knew that these guys, they got other potential targets. Like you are telling me of PS Marcon, there is some claims. They might divert people's attention a bit, but let those institutions like PSS and or the President Institute, the President Mission and the Catholic Mission, they shouldn't think that the people they are dining with will not turn around and harm them. When you are dining with the devil, know that when he finishes with your brother, he will step onto you and finish you as well. So that's exactly what the devil is doing now to all these mission institutions in Southern Cameroon. Let them keep on dining with them to burn down all those institutions to pretend that they are burned down by Amber boys.
Yes, of course, that is their narrative. That's what they do after they cause their damage. Now, tell us, you said in your audio that 3,000 troops you learned is entering Bamenda from La République du Cameroon. Are there any updates?
Can you take it over again, please?
You mentioned in an audio you sent out yesterday, security warning that 3,000 French Cameroon terrorist soldiers are moving into Bamenda, and some of them may also go out burning shops. Any update on this?
Well, I haven't gotten any update on that, but you know, they usually enter the city in the dead of the night when everybody is asleep. So we do not know if they've entered the city yet or not, by now or not. But with the situation in PSS, who doubts if they are already in Bamenda and have been dispatched to their various mission order areas.
And what are you hearing from these shop owners in Bamenda who are defying these colonial instructions?
Secretary Chris, I want to say that the enthusiasm in our people back at home is so wonderful. For I'm telling to shopkeepers down there, everybody is bent. Lock their shops as you care, as you want, but nobody is going to defy the lock. Our ghost towns for country Sundays on Mondays. For it's a day which is significant, and nobody will dare to go against it. It is not made by anybody, but it's made by the people of the Southern Cameroon. Nobody is supposed to respect it, but everybody knows that it's the day to be respected. Let La Republic. It's not like in Mancon, which is about on Sunday, the traditional on Sunday, that people don't go to farm, or the Sunday that people go to the market. You cannot go to Mancon and tell the Mancon man that when it is in Ghana, it should go to the farm, or we should know the consequences of that. So the people of the Southern Cameroon, they know the consequences of violating their own decision taken to protect and achieve their freedom.
Tell me, how would you describe the action of these traders yesterday in this rally that took place right in front of the Bamenda main market? Would you say this is going to have a multiplication effect with other shop owners in Ndu, in the Ndob, in the, I mean, all of Ambazonia when they begin to see bold actions like these ones?
Secretary Chris, I think this is the first time that this type of thing is happening. We saw it in Pumba with the new form of Pumba.
Correct.
That they rallied the market women to the first palace that they should defy Amode concerns. The women told them that they were not going to do that. So it has but spilled over to Bamenda, and the common man is maintaining his grounds that they will never go against the constitution, for they are the decision makers of the constitution. They decided it should be. Nobody should come from elsewhere to tell them not to respect that constitution. I hope with the situation in Ndu, what we've seen in Bamenda will definitely spill over as well. But we as a people should take a general decision if this trend of events continue to go on the way it is.
Wonderful. What is Mezam? What is Mezam? Because we have been talking about a lockdown coming up for Mezam, for Bamenda in particular. What is Mezam planning?
The preparedness of our people, as we've seen in this gathering, it shows that the people are ready and they are gearing up toward a unifying action that will be called up by the interim government. Had it been that wasn't the case, then people could have taken this unilateral action, which they've taken spontaneously in Bamenda against this so-called self-appointed and protected mayors of the colonial system.
Right. Now, they have vowed to continue to shut down the shops until these shop owners begin to respect their Mondays. And we are also aware they are forcing workers to get into their shops, into their offices, sleep there through Sunday night, work on Monday before going home. Is this trend going to actually force people in Mezam going to offices on Monday, breaking ghost towns? Do you see that happening?
I don't think that is going to happen, Secretary Peace. That is why I said that we should, as a people, put up a plan for Mezam as a whole. For the certain local shops in Quen, they've stepped over to Mancon, like they've gone to Ndu. Who knows where is the next LGA or county that they are heading to? So we need to come up with a preemptive measure to make them understand that if they think that is what they are going to do, we too will have something to do to counter their move. So we should be preparing for a total lockdown if all the shops are not open in Bamenda and Quen and elsewhere. The shops are locked there.
Now, we are told that most of the shops in Quen, Comrade Zama, get on seat, please. Sorry about that. We are told that most of the shops in Quen, in Quen that are operating Bamileki Francophone-owned shops. What is Mezam Security going to do with this?
Well, we used to say 99 days for the thief and 1 day for the owner. La Republique du Cameroon has sent their soldiers to Bamenda to burn down the Mancon main market and the food market, because they know that most of the shops, at least 90% of the shops there, are owned by indigenous of the place and Nigerians. So if they burn it down, their own people are not going to suffer the consequences. But they should know that if Mancon main market is touched, we will have no other choice other than to touch where their interest is as well.
All right, Comrade Sama, thank you for showing up to be with me to educate our people on what is going on and what needs to be done. We just want the people up in Bamenda to know that we here at the interim government, we are watching what is going on and that we actually stand by them. We support the action of those market men and women who were rallying in front of Bamenda main market yesterday. Their action was the right action, and again, we are not about to rush to declare a lockdown, but we are still drawing the elastic. Somewhere it cuts off along in the middle, right? When you draw it and draw it and draw it, got to cut somewhere. That is the point we are getting to. We will shut down. I mean, shut down everything that exists in that Bamenda in the name of administration. If they think they can frustrate our parents, our brothers, our sisters who are struggling to get life, going to put food on the table, and they do this when they themselves cannot open or get into their own offices. And they want these women and men to get into the war zone to risk their lives. But we demonstrate to them in the days ahead that Ambazonians own Ambazonia, and that we control what goes on in Bamenda. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Secretary Chris.
All right. I will allow Tumfon, Bo Herbert, and my other guests, Comrade Zama, to weigh in on this subject, the happenings in Bamenda and the courage of these women up in Bamenda, standing up to the colonial officials in Bamenda. Comrade in Tumfon, it appears I can't get your sound. Your microphone doesn't appear to be turned on. You may want to log out and log back in. I guess you are able to hear me, but your microphone doesn't appear turned on. Let me get to Comrade Zama while you adjust your microphone. You may just have to log out and log back in Tumfon. All right, Comrade.
Hello, welcome viewers. Thank you, Secretary Chris. Happy New Year to all our televiewers and to our displaced persons. We laud your efforts, and for the issues going on in Bamenda, we don't have any reason not to fight. Like Akere Muna had said it, we have to fight like our lives depend on it. And that's going to be what it's going to be, because we have had enough of this issue. We cannot be teleguided from Yaoundé. We have to make those decisions from our local governments and from our local institutions and our leaders. Yaoundé can no longer, as of 2017, tell us what to do.
Microphone on when you log in. So in Tumfon and Dr. Emma, try logging out and logging back in. So let's see. Okay, Emma microphone is on now. waiting for Ntumfoins to be back on. I think Ntumfoin, you may be muted at your end. I think Emma was muted too. All right, Emma, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Chris, and Happy New Year to you and your viewers, and Happy New Year to my co-panelists here. I hope everybody's keeping well, of course, and I hope everybody's staying safe at home. So my greetings to you, my prayers to all of the viewers for a very happy new year, and prayers out for those who are in the bushes, those who have been impacted by this war, and that we may, through God's grace, see a year that will bring some permanent peace in that region. So I'm glad to be here, Chris.
Now, for that one, the office, the name was small, Kalabu place, in the Megas Wicket. The other Bali, that one. Bali to a portion in the hole. I have anything to portion in the market. That one, the office, the name was small, Kalabu place, in the Megas Wicket. The other Bali, that one. Bali to a portion in the hole. I have anything to portion in the market.
The very thing where a pursue one for that hall, for one offices, now the very thing where a pursue we for will market them for Monday. That's what they were saying out there. Comrade, tell me in a minute, please, what your thoughts are on that.
Is that directed at me, Chris?
Yes, directed at you.
There's always a moment of levity.
Please keep on walking. I will let you know.
There's always a moment of levity, even in a struggle. So that comic relief there is very appropriate. On a serious note, it simply goes to show that all the efforts by the BR regime to show the world that things are normal is not working. There is the evidence. The people are telling you we are in war. So it is funny to listen to the guy, but it is telling. It tells the entire story. We have a crisis. The people are suffering. And here we have a guy for whom who has no mandate, imposed by a regime that has declared war, telling them that they cannot pursue their livelihood. So they have simply taken back power into their own hands. And we must applaud them for the courage that they demonstrate and tell them that we stand in solidarity with them. So obviously we have a regime that is bleeding financially. The taxes that these people would have been fleeced for, they can't get it. The extortion that the heavy militarization over there would be feeling in their pockets, they can't. So these people finally are, God bless all of them, brothers and sisters, for standing against dictatorial regime, killing machine, and telling them that, first of all, peaceful protest is a protected right. These guys are showing that they are unhappy about their situation by supporting and standing in solidarity with ghost towns. Do you want them rather to carry weapons? They are peacefully protesting what has been. Oh, by the way, Chris, this year makes it 60 years since we were yoked to La République du Cameroon. And now our mothers and children are dying. And we are saying 60 years is too long. It is time, by the way, for the church to step in and take a logical role. The church is always in a partner for peace.
We will get to the church, and I know you have a petition that is going on out there and volunteering, asking for signatures. We will get to that. But going back to this meeting, to this rally in Bamenda, I like to play that shot one more time, and let the people listen. Something that this guy says in that shot. Listen to him.
Now for Basit, in that one, the office, the name was small, Kalabu place, in Lagos Limited. The one of Bali, in that one, Bali to a portion in the hole, and the Bali to a portion in the
all that thing where they pursue one of other horn, I is pursue. I was actually looking for the clip in which they said they are not going to listen, respect colonial officials whom they did not vote. Imagine such boldness. Look at the lady in Kumba who walked straight to the face of Atanganji and said, Mr. Mini, the almighty Atanganji, as is known over there, with an objection. I see a certain wind blowing within Ambazonians on ground zero. Women in particular. I don't know whether you see that.
I do, Chris. I do. Women bear the brunt of all wars, women and children. And they have also been very central in agitating and augmenting their voices to all crises to force the dynamics to change for peace. And yes, I call it the winds of nationalism, and it's the nationalism of Southern Cameroonians. These are people who are saying enough is enough. We came into a union as free sovereign people with our own government, our own parliament. We were able to vote for them. We transferred power peacefully. We have enjoyed that democratic exercise. And now we are sitting and someone is telling us, sitting Lord and Master over us, guns to our heads. And when we peacefully protest, they punish us, they kill us, they burn our shops, they burn our homes, they burn our villages, and that enough is enough. So I do sense it. Women out there are coming together and saying enough is enough. We can't die and still be killed and remain silent. So I want to say we stand in solidarity with the women, and women who stand for what I say, peace, not peace through the barrel, not solutions that are gotten from violence, not peace through acquiescence, not peace because someone comes in their armored trucks. I mean, you could tell Bamenda, some of those people, they live as though Washington was in January 20th. They are guarded, and you're asking people to come out under the barrel of the gun because you say so. So I am saying that I believe I can feel it in my bones that people are finally waking up and standing up. They have been, mind you, because they have been peacefully protesting. But this time I see that winds of change where it says 20,000 or more of us have died. What is it going to take? Silence is not buying us much. Compliance has bought us even more death. So we must speak up and speak up for a kind of peace that is based on justice. And I hope the mothers who are out there, that mommy in the market, God bless you for your courage you're stepping in your truth and owning it and telling those oppressors that we cannot take it and you cannot send us so that your military kills us and say we came out to protest or something. So what's good for the goose, I guess in this case, is good for the gander. But yes, Chris, the winds of change are blowing, and they are blowing ever so gently and increasing. 60 years since is more than enough time that people need to start saying we can't be yoked on such burden.
All right, let me get Comrade Zama to weigh in there. I am still not able to get into Mfon's microphone. It's still not working. I don't know what is happening at his end, but Comrade Zama, I'd like you to come in here. Do you see, I mean, La République du Cameroon?
Well, La République du Cameroon knows it's losing the battle. As much as they are saying that they are winning, they are losing. Once you see a nation or an army start doing scorched earth policy, it's just a sign of a losing army. And the French, it's a tactics that they learned from the French, from Napoleon, and they've been doing that ever since. And that's just to show them how they are losing this war. They are losing the war of propaganda. They are losing the wars of trying to convince our people that they should accept their servitude. But given the people that we are, we decided that it's a situation that we are not going to accept it anymore. And La République, no matter what they are saying to the international community, when it comes to fighting an idea, there's no country that has defeated an idea. The Americans have tried it, the French have tried it, the British have tried it. It has never succeeded. It's just a matter of time. Ambazonians are taking up to themselves at great peril back home to stand against the monster, and at least we are developing horns in that respect, because at this point, if the python swallows the deer with the long horns, it has to choose if it has to die along with the deer. We are going to lead La République to its own end. This is not a war that can be won on the battlefield. We've asked them to come to a friendly and amicable solution, as has been taught to us by the American Senate, by resolution in the British House of Lords, but they've decided not to. They've decided not to take the high moral ground. And the only thing that a country or a state like that fears most is brute force. And I think we've encountered it. We've fought them man for man, toe to toe, for the last four years, going 5. We are not going to relent. We are asking for our brothers and sisters who are in an uncomfortable situation. We want to fight for a place, for an Ambazonia, that you don't have to bribe to be a merchant. You don't have to pay on illegal taxes. You don't have to pay to get from one point of the city to another. We have to stop this nonsense. And it's a high time. 60 years is 60 years too long.
All right. Thank you, Comrade. Again, unfortunately, in Tumfoin, I believe you can hear us, but I still do not see your microphone turn on. Yeah, I see you there, but your microphone apparently is, I don't know whether it is muted or just not connected or what, I can't tell. Please, I will keep on checking your line to see whether your microphone is active. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, this is the talk of the day. The USA has a new administration. The USA has a new administration. And everybody is talking about what the new Secretary of State in the USA is saying or said. A few days ago when he went up for his confirmation hearing, he mentioned directly Cameroon as a priority of America's new foreign policy, talking about trying to look for a solution to the conflict in Cameroon. Of course, talking about the context is Ambazonia, of course. So he was very upfront about that. We also listened recently, I think this week, a speech from the House of Commons in London by one of the ladies in the House, is it Emily Thornberry, yes.
Emily Thornberry.
Yeah, in the House in London, talking about the need for the British government to stand side by side with the U.S. government to bring a solution. In fact, she was saying America cannot be talking about resolving the conflict in Ambazonia and the British are busy negotiating business with the criminal regime in Yaoundé. Now, this is coming in the heels of Senate Resolution 684, in which the U.S. senators basically are indicting La République du Cameroon for all the crimes and calling upon them to go for negotiations. So it's like a new day. It's like a new day, ladies and gentlemen, in this conflict. Now listen to this. I'd like you to listen to this, and then after that, I will get to my panelists.
Madam Deputy Speaker, just 5 days before the US Senate was attacked, they came together to approve a resolution co-sponsored by 20 senators from both parties, from Marco Rubio to Cory Booker. And it was about this, about the brutal campaign of subjugation by the French-speaking government in Cameroon against the country's English-speaking minority. The Senate resolution condemned with great force the atrocities committed by the Anglophone separatist militias, and it speaks with equal power about the actions of the Cameroon government, including, I quote, torture and sexual abuse, massacres and burnings of villages, use of live ammunition against protesters, arbitrary arrests and unlawful detention, forced disappearance and deaths in custody, attacks on journalists, and the regular killing of civilians, including women, children and the elderly. Madam Deputy Speaker, the Senate resolution noted approvingly that exactly 1 year before, the Office of the US Trade Representative, remember this is Donald Trump's trade representative, the direct counterpart of the Secretary of State for International Trade, had terminated Cameroon's access to preferential trade rights due, I quote, to persistent gross violations of internationally recognized human rights. And finally, Madam Deputy Speaker, in that same spirit, the Senate resolution urged members of the international community to join the United States in a strategic collective effort to put pressure on the government of Cameroon, including through, I quote, the use of all available diplomatic and punitive tools. And I quote that Senate resolution at length, Madam Deputy Speaker, because I believe that we must ask ourselves what on earth those senators would think if they knew that on that very same day, when they were unanimously passing those strong words of condemnation towards the government of Cameroon and urging the international community to join them, here in the United Kingdom, we were bringing into effect a brand new continuity trade agreement with Cameroon. A trade deal which was agreed by ministers, apparently with no consideration and clearly no concern for the persistent gross violations of international human rights that are taking place inside Cameroon. A trade deal which none of us in this House, bar the ministers on the bench opposite, have even been allowed to read, let alone debate or approve, and a trade deal which may or may not contain provisions on human rights, but until the government finally decides to publish it, we, the elected members of this Parliament, simply cannot know. I hope that members on all sides will keep the example of Cameroon in mind and consider the words of the US Senate and the actions of the US Trade Representative when judging how to vote later on, because we all know that on occasions like this, when amendments are up for debate, ministers will try to persuade us that they don't disagree with the good intentions behind them, and they just don't think that they're really required. However, if that is what ministers are saying today in relation to Amendments 2 and 3 on human rights, or 1 and 5 on parliamentary scrutiny, I would only ask members to remember Cameroon. A trade deal done with a regime which is slaughtering women and children just because they live in English-speaking towns. A trade deal done in the face of the US Senate on the same day that they called for international support. And a trade deal which, incredibly, has still not been laid before Parliament almost 3 weeks after it came into force. I would urge all members to think about the Cameroon deal and how little consideration ministers gave either to human rights or to the rights of this Parliament when they decided to sign it. And then finally ask yourself, and ask your conscience, whether you accept what those same ministers are saying when they go through the amendments before us today and tell you they're not really required.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that lady parliamentarian in the UK was speaking on the heels of the UK signing a trade deal with French Cameroon, and I think she was appealing to their consciences to recognize what is going on in that damn country before thinking of signing that deal. In fact, she said, you cannot sign a deal with a country that is killing women and children, even at a time when the U.S. Congress has put together a resolution calling for Cameroon to negotiate. Comrade Sylvester, you are the Under Secretary for Foreign Affairs here at the interim government. Do you see this bringing any pressure on La République du Cameroon? In fact, I would like you to hold on a little while. Let me take this order shot from the new U.S. Under Secretary of State, Secretary of State, so we can combine them together and do some analysis on these two clips. Please, hold on.
So I would like to see American diplomacy fully engaged in trying to contend with this challenge. You cited a number of other places where we have, I share your concerns about the elections in Uganda, concerns in Cameroon recently, particularly violence directed at the Anglophone population. So there are a whole series of places where we have challenges where I think the United States can help make a difference, and that starts with being engaged.
Okay, and he says there are a whole number of places with challenges where the United States should be directly engaged, and one of those places he mentioned was Cameroon, but he mentions particularly the word or the name Anglophone. They refer to us as Anglophones. Of course, we don't blame them. They don't know the history. We've been known for Anglophone as Anglophones for years now. That's what everybody knows us by. But I think the mention of this conflict in the first day of, let me say, of his administration, because that was his hearing, and on the first day of his hearing, does it send a message to La République du Cameroon that a new level of pressure is being brought upon them? Comrade Sylvester, then Emma.
Well, I think it's a new pressure, but like all dictatorships, they never bow to pressure. The only thing they bow to is force. La République has had this long time to decide what it really wants to settle this issue with the Ambazonians. Our issue with them is Tony Blinken. It's a consummate diplomat. He's been a diplomat from when he was a child. He grew up in Paris and went to elementary school in Paris, so he understands the French psyche very much. The fact that we are talking today, 4 or 5 years going into this war, it's incumbent on the Biden regime to be able to settle issues that have been left to fester. If you can remember, Viscount Waverly, I think in November 14th, 2018, had said we are sleepwalking into a humanitarian catastrophe with the war going on in Ambazonia. The thing is, it's not been front and center to a lot of the issues because America has been involved in so many issues around the world. They were trying to pull back, but I think we have to understand where they are coming from.
All right, Emma, please give us your thought under 1 minute, please, so that we can talk about other issues on this same subject.
So my initial reaction is bravo, Emily Thornberry, bravo to the Right Honorable Member of Parliament for speaking truth to power. So the one thing I want to say in the short time you've allowed me is that we have to welcome the new administration under President Biden with open arms. We've gone through 4 years of MAGA and see where it's gotten us, right? So Biden has committed or is recommitting to engage in the world and build back bridges that were broken. So his BBB, Build Back Better, is a welcome position for the United States. But let me point something out here really quickly. From my vague understanding so far, mind you, 24 hours into a new administration, its Africa policy is likely still being thought through, if not very nascent. But for one thing I know, through successive administrations in the United States, they tend to have bipartisan agreement on Africa. Now, you will ask yourself why. When it comes to U.S. Africa's policy, you can throw out the rule book to some extent, because here's what you're going to have. America is going to always say, we want to work on democracy, uphold human rights, and eradicate corruption. Now, that to me, not to compare America with some dictator that we all know, because his speeches were sort like that, but is to ask the question, what is it that makes America's policy one issue policy? Now, think about this. It's always about trade. Now, you've heard of AGOA, which Cameroon was unceremoniously removed from it because of human rights. So that's a positive. You will hear of health, and they'll go to a single issue, HIV, AIDS, and funding. Now, you'll hear America talk about working with regional bodies. Who are the regional bodies and continental bodies in Africa? Well, at the continental level, it's Africa Union. The regional levels, you have the CIMAX, the ECOWAS, the regions in the south and in the east. Now, the question here is, are these policies to engage with regional bodies whereby the people who sit in these regional bodies tend to be corrupt regimes, dictators, what I call kingpins for life, otherwise known as presidents, who are waging war in order to suppress people and dissent? And this is the same engagement that a U.S. foreign policy would take on. So there are some critical things that we have to consider when we think about U.S. foreign policy, particularly to Africa. It is, in my opinion, single issue. It is generally engaging not totally multilaterally, country to country. It is more a focus on regional engagement as well as a focus on single issues. So my take is that Tony Blinken is coming in with a lot on his plate. We are happy that in his very first utterances during his confirmation hearings, he recognizes that all crisis requires dialogue that addresses the roots of the problem. He mentioned the Ethiopian Tigray crisis. He mentioned Cameroon. So we have to now do what I call engaging with this new administration, however we can, to make them not turn their eye on this human catastrophe that has been the handiwork of a sit-tight kingpin known as president, declaring war on otherwise free people. So my assessment very early on is that it's early in the day. We're happy MAGA is out. We're doing a Build Back Better, multilateralism, championing democracy, but on the issue of human rights. let's not use it as a wedge issue to punish countries we don't like, but truly to put meat behind the words. So I'll leave it at that, Secretary Chris, and we can take it up more if we need to, because there's a lot to unpack here. In your opening discussions there's the Senate resolution, there's of course a new administration and possibly a tilt that is different from the Trump administration. There's of course the parliament in Britain that is also taking a closer look at this. So we have to think more strategically what all of this means, what we as Southern Cameroonians and Ambazonians can do to bring permanent peace. So I think there's some work to be done here.
All right, that is great. And I was going to see that why these events give us a lot of optimism, with what lies ahead. This is politics, international politics, and of course diplomacy. And they can say one thing today, and tomorrow they come up with a different thing. You will recall that first we had a resolution sponsored by Karim Bass that gave French Cameroon the courage, the infantry, to put together the so-called grand national dialogue. You know, that resolution had asked French Cameroon to put together their religious leaders, their chiefs in community leaders to discuss, talk about the crisis, and they took it on. They took it on and organized their so-called Grand National Dialogue, and they came out with the so-called special status. Now, after that initial resolution by Karim Bass, the Senate came out with Senate Resolution 292. It wasn't the best, it was better, however, than that of Karim Bass from Congress. Now we also have resolution, the third one, 682, and we also have now the new Secretary of State talking about Cameroon engagement, or America's engagement in this conflict, to the end that a quicker solution is implemented. My fears and the fears of so many people out there are lobbyists from Europe, from France, from across the international community, the Chinese. They will come in. All of us, we live here in the USA, and we know that the democratic establishment is a socialist establishment that like to work with other socialist establishments like the French and the Chinese. I am afraid, and as many do, that tomorrow the Americans may say, you know what, Ambazonians, just go and meet La République du Cameroon and negotiate and solve your internal problems. Comrade Sylvester, do you have this fear?
Well, I think what we have to understand is our destiny is in our own hands. There's no cavalry out there coming to save Ambazonia. We have to do that work. We have to do the heavy lifting. The fact that the Americans, even if you look at Resolution 684 and what Lord Boateng and Viscount Waverly, all of them are heading into a situation where they are telling us where they want us to be, in a federated state with La République. We've not been given that opportunity to decide where we want to belong. And it's incumbent on us to impose ourselves in that conversation. We would like them to have the good hopes to help us to try to resolve this. We've had a lot of human catastrophe. We've had a lot of parents raped, kids killed. American policy, especially for the last 20 years, has been not to intervene. But if you can quote Samantha Power, who was the last really decent U.S. ambassador to the U.S., has said the U.S. should intervene when it is to save lives, when there's mass murder and mass killings. We have passed that. We will never know how many Ambazonians have been killed. And that's the number. The international community keeps hanging on 3,000 dead.
Right.
We are dying every day, and that number cannot be static. That number keeps climbing on a daily basis. I don't know if they do addition by subtraction to get those numbers. Those numbers are staggering, and we will never know the actual numbers. I think we have to, it's incumbent on us to do the best that we can do to engage the Americans and every other person who has to. It's a question of interest. Every person who is dealing in Africa or in Ambazonia in particular, it's a question of interest. And we have to be able to come up with an issue and say, okay, what are your interests? And we try to have to make a point to deliver on those points. Because La Republique is basically mortgaging the whole of Ambazonia to all these multinational companies. They're having low-flying jets to map out every mineral and every cranny. We cannot be too sure if the whole of Ambazonia has not been titled to somebody else. We have to fight, and we will only be the people to fight for our own interests. We cannot wait for the Americans. We cannot wait for the British or the Chinese. Their interests will always supersede our interests in that discussion.
Comrade Emma, you are a member of ACT, and you know what this new interest in our conflict from the international community means. But it also entails that we in ACT, we have our hands full. We have to knock doors and knock more doors and knock them more aggressively. Everybody is saying so. Are they wrong?
Not at all. Not at all, Chris. But before I speak on that, let me just make a comment on the resolution that just passed. So it is yet another resolving. But what I want to ask that we consider is, what is going to move this piece of paper from just being what it is to actually transforming to concrete steps? So I think we are so fatigued by statements from different capitals, and still people are dying, that we don't know what else to do. So I want to say that, yes, there is the push internationally to get countries to be more engaged. But it seems as though the engagement goes this far to statements, to utterances, and then it stops short. I think my co-panelists here alluded to something. The interests, the lobbyists are playing they're doing what they do best, which is to hold these capitals to just inaction. Meanwhile, people are dying on the ground. So I want to say that Resolution 684 is a good step. It has, in my view, a little bit for everybody in there. Therein lies the problem. They still see us as a piece of north-south of something attached to something. There is, of course, the recognition that only a credible dialogue will solve this problem. There is a recognition of the central role that France plays. For the first time, France has been mentioned as totally complicit and a relevant actor to play in any resolution of this. And for our purposes, we see it as France getting out of southern Cameroon. France can stay in La Republique if the 20 or 18 million people of French Cameroon feel that their destinies, their sovereignty is dictated from the capital of Paris. They are welcome to do so. But 60 years hence, we are saying we cannot be at the ripe old age of 60 years. We are subjugated. We are living in depravity, scarcity, and now full-scale war, that the time has come. So going back to what we're currently dealing with, which is the Swiss-led process. Now, there's a lot to be said and not said about that. Suffice to say that we are all very disappointed that up until now, the government in Yaoundé has not accepted for a date for pre-talks. Now, we cannot begin to second guess why. They have no desire to sit down and confront the root causes. Their intention is to use all means necessary, which now includes war, to, quote, normalize the situation in the ground. Explain this to me, my brothers and sisters. How does someone use armored cars, shows up in your town and villages, tell you to drop your weapon that you're using to protect yourself, and then tell you that everything is normal? Meanwhile, hundreds and thousands of your brothers and sisters are languishing without homes in the bushes, and some of them has essentially moved into the French side, where they are continuing to be indoctrinated into believing that their rights are somewhat subjugated to other people's rights. So not only are we losing generations of children, we are losing entire people to an ideology that says you are a second class. So yes, we are disappointed that up until now, the Swiss process has not gone as fast to move La République to accept to sit on the table. But there is a reason for that we must not accept. La République du Cameroon knows that sitting down to address the root causes for it is its Achilles heels.
All right. Thank you for that. They say the wheels of diplomacy grind very, very slowly. Let me bring Comrade Sama, who is still here, into this discussion. Comrade Sama, you've been listening to us, and my last point was, right now it looks really so good with the leaders in England, in the US, talking about this conflict. However, diplomacy being what it is, the fears out there are tomorrow the French will come in into the new administration here in the US and say, you know, we see eye to eye, we can get Cameroon to talk with Anglophones, as they call it, and before you know, the US diplomacy is singing a different song to a different direction. Do you see these fears out there too?
Well, Secretary Chris, all of us might be afraid of what we perceive can be the outcome of this international diplomatic sector. But what I want from them, I do not care about what they say at the present moment. What I want from them is to pursue La République, to meet the Southern Cameroons at the negotiation table. Whether America is talking about federation with Anglophones, or France is talking about whatever they are talking about, on that day of negotiation, sitting side by side with La République, exchanging words and facts, the language on that day is going to change. By the moment they are still in this rhetoric of talking, it makes no sense to me. It will only make sense if they force La République to negotiate. I don't care if the Bush come and confirm to them that they will give the Southern Cameroon their special status. When they will sitting side by side with the Southern Cameroon people will tell the people of America and France and whosoever what they want, and not what America wants, not what England wants, not what France wants, but what the people of Southern Cameroon want. For the moment, they are still talking, we should go firm to our God. I made an audio sometime about a week ago, telling the fighters on the ground that if they see a British man in Southern Cameroon, I never knew that the British have signed a business deal with our conflict. I was just making that audio out of anger, that if they see a British man in Southern Cameroon, he should be congratulated, like the French man. I want to reiterate now that if they see a British man in Southern Cameroon, but they refuse to share in our pain, but are instead putting salt into our injury, if we see them, let that person be a priest. Let him be a pastor. Let him be what their prime minister. Congratulate him. Once we do that, they will tend to reason and feel our pain. We are abandoned into our pains, but we haven't touched them.
Okay. I think you make a very important point there. I think in this conflict, ladies and gentlemen, this is very, very important. Comrade Sama makes a very, very important point there. It is not what the American says that matter. It is not what the British say that matter. It is what Ambazonians want and their determination, their resilience to get what they want. And this would have to come with a lot of patience. Comrade Zama, we have seen liberation wars fought for 20 years, fought for 30 years, and counting. It takes resilience. It really takes resilience for wars like this to be won on the terms of people fighting for their rights like us.
I think the big picture and the big story behind all this struggle is a lot of people have been hesitant to intervene to resolve our issues. If you can remember, Ambassador Thibault Nege had said he did not want no micro-states all over them. But he some sort of like have an amnesia of diplomacy when he realizes that a country like Liechtenstein, a country like Andorra, a country like Monaco, and all those little Kosovo, Cyprus, all of those. And if you look at places in Africa like Mauritius, Comoros, Seychelles, all those countries have like 1/8 the population of what we have, and in terms of land size. I don't think his criteria or their criteria for determining an independent state should be that. We are distinct people. We are people of different ethnic backgrounds, different culture, different linguistic and legal system. It has failed everywhere. Even in Canada, the Canadians, the Quebecois are trying to vote every year. For the last 30-something years I've been in this country, they've been trying to separate themselves from the English system, despite all the legalities and all the options that they have to sustain their life and culture. We don't have those mechanisms back home. Anytime we talk about issue, there's a question of, okay, you have to be yoked with La République. You have to be yoked with somebody. We are some sort of tired with this piecemeal approach to our issues. And we, as I said, let me repeat it to all of our viewers, the Americans are not going to come fight for us. The Americans are not going to fund our wars for us. If we love our country so dearly, we have to sacrifice each and every one of us to gain that independence that we want, to have that peace of mind, to live from Quem to Banso without a police person stopping you, to walk in on a clean street, to have schools that are available, to have hospitals that have medications and doctors don't have to ask you for bribe to be treated or paid for before you get treated. We are fighting not for ourselves. I'm abroad, I'm comfortable where I am. We are fighting for all of these kids we see every day whose blood is staining our streets on a daily basis. We are tired of asking for other people. We have to put ourselves and fight this war to its very end.
All right. Before I let you guys, okay, Dr. Emma, please, if you can keep it under 50 seconds, we appreciate it, because I'm going to open the phone line shortly for Ground Zero to chip in something.
Let's add something to what Sylvester has just said. Why is it that when it comes to the continent of Africa, the charters agreed to by nation states, resolutions adopted, international law somehow ceases to apply, but elsewhere they work perfectly? He just mentioned the case of Quebec. How is it that what solutions are being prescribed for Africa, the same countries that do prescribe them would not accept them in their own crisis? it is something really that is baffling to everybody, that the same provisions for a platform for people to express themselves, they support elsewhere. There are at least 30 or more referendums around the world. But somehow when it comes to Africa, there is a fear of degenerating into non-ending violence. There is a fear that economically you'll be a burden elsewhere. The fact, my brothers and sisters, that the government of Cameroon subsists on foreign aid is not to say that a free Southern Cameroons will succeed on foreign aids. We should note, which is not a surprise to anybody, that the majority of the resources come from that area. So that is a clear case that here is a people who, first of all, had their sovereignty stolen, only are fighting to be a dignified citizen in their own land. I think it's such a puzzling thing that we need to always keep it in the back of our heads as we engage with the international community and continue to bring this into view. Article 47 violated, Resolution 1608 not upheld, international laws as it pertains to boundaries violated. When is it going to be good for the goose and good for the gander?
Absolutely, absolutely. You said it perfectly. Before I let you guys know, before I let you guys go, I'd like you guys to take a close watch at this footage, and I will ask you to, in 10 seconds, comment on it. I describe, ladies and gentlemen, all of you out there, I describe this footage I'm about bringing to you as the state of the struggle. The state of the struggle. Watch, please, watch.
Longo pass, recuperation de Kisonda, Kidon Anagata Moto Yutu, Nagata Moto Yutu, Kidon Amoto Karina Sungunu, Kidon Achin Khamna, Purkhamnakin, Khamna, Purkhamnakin, Nagata Moto Yutu, Kidon Adanukin, Saulenkin pour Salisane pour Canada, pour Kalikulali. Attention, Nagata Moto Yutu. Attention, Anagata Moto Yutu. Attention, Anagata Moto Yutu. Kidon Amoto Karinasu. Saulen Ningi ni pour Khin. Kidon Khin pour Khin. Mogana to Yutu. Kira ke pera bala pour Kisonda pour Karina Potisi pour Mosene recuperation de Salisane. Kare Parika. Attention, Kasafra Kare Kulwali pour Karim Yai qui fait l'orgasme. Attention, Anagata Moto Yutu. Qui récupère le ballon sur le pied de Kisonda pour Karina Kusili pour Moussini Khin, Dalunin Khin, attention, Moto Karina, Nagata Moto Yutu, qui récupère le ballon. Sadio Mane qui fait une longue passe pour Ghana.
They can't get him. Think about that. That is the state of the struggle. Those are Amba boys, being chased by French Cameroon terrorists. Look at how many of them are there. They can't get in. They can't get those Amba boys. Comrade Sama, please keep it under 30 seconds.
When God decides a fate, nothing on earth can change that.
Absolutely. So, thank you. You said it right. Comrade Emma, please.
Chris, very quickly. I wanted to make a statement early on, but I deferred. The Northwest Southwest Task Force women are women like myself, are women like the women in Bamenda. I uphold them, I value them as mothers, but we differ on one thing. It's the peace that we want, not a peace gotten at the barrel of the gun. We prefer a permanent peace, women of permanent peace and justice, one based on addressing the root causes in a third-party mediated settlement. So I wanted to point that out to say, as a woman on this forum, I respect them, I value them, I uphold them, but we differ on where they want the country to be, which is not our place. But on your little soccer game there, CAN should have occurred in Yaoundé and Douala. But President Biya wanted to show the world that it is normal, that it is hell-bent on holding a football match in the midst of war. And as you've seen the pictures on social media, football players are being transported in armored vehicles with bulletproof helmets and vests. That, my brothers and sisters, is the guise that we live under. Finally, I do not understand Chinese. So the only thing I understand, if that was Chinese, is the economic interests of China in Cameroon. And that, my friends, is a subject for another day.
All right, thank you, Comrade Emma. Comrade Zama, please, about that state of the struggle.
Well, I want La Republique to understand that any country that has fought against an idea has never won, and it will never be won. The Americans have learned that in Afghanistan, in Vietnam, the French, Napoleon, Alexandria, all these people lost wars against an idea. And the idea that Ambazonia wants to be free, the only thing that can satiate that thirst is freedom. Absolutely. If you want water, you cannot drink beer. You will not quench your thirst. Liberty and freedom is what Ambazonia wants. Anything else is moot.
All right. Thank you, Comrade Zama, Comrade Emma, Comrade Sama. Thank you for being part of the panel today. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Intumfoimbo Herbert. He had issues with his microphone. We could not get his audio, but I'm hoping perhaps maybe on Monday I will get him back here. You guys have a great night, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I am going to open the phone lines briefly for Ground Zero to come in if they have any contributions from Ground Zero. I will open the phone lines, so please, the phone lines are open. However, if you're calling from anywhere, before you call, make sure the volume of your television set is turned down. If you are calling from anywhere, do not call until you are sure that the volume of your set is turned down. The phone number is right there on your screen. So please go ahead and you make your phone call live to ABC. Okay. All right, go ahead, please. The phones are open. I will appreciate calls from Ground Zero, especially. Ground Zero, especially. The phone lines are open, and remember, you can only call by way of WhatsApp. You can only call by way of WhatsApp. Let me see who the first caller here is. Okay. Hello, sir.
Hey, Secretary Chris. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. I'm calling from Los Angeles. I know you prefer Ground Zero, but you know, those of us in the diaspora who support, we pay keen interest to the utterances of people like you and our favorite rocket scientist, Dr. Osong.
That is okay. That is okay. You are the first caller, so you have the pride of place. So what is in your mind, sir?
So what is in my mind is that, first of all, you know, La Republic can definitely see our resolve to prosecute this war to our independence. But after listening to everything that was said by the panelists today, the question that I have for you, and I wish they were still there to answer it, is that the big boys of the international community, to me, are more about protecting their money and therefore the corporate interest of their multinational corporations that do business all over the world, even in Ambazonia and French Cameroon, all over Africa. What can we as Ambazonians do to make sure countries like the US, Britain, Germany, France, China, Japan, what can we do to let them know that the business of Ambazonia will be business? What can we do to show these Western democracies in particular that we will be a bastion of stability, justice, and prosperity to Ambazonians that will let the world know that when you invest in Ambazonia, your investments will not be lost? What can we do? Because that's what they're really concerned about. Money.
Well, I really doubt if their problem is the value of their investments, because no country exists in isolation. It's all business round the clock. I think the problem is selfishness. When you have the French and, of course, what they call the political sphere of influence, the political sphere of influence in our situation. You have the French. The French colonized us who have what they call the Francophonie, and the French are the masters. In our case, you have the Commonwealth, and the British are the masters. It would surprise you, I would say, it should not surprise you that even in the midst of these human rights abuses, women killed, tortured, harassed, children killed, and the British are still just doing business as usual with French Cameroon. So I think it is not what we should do, what we can do. It is what the international community wants to do. But someone made a statement which is very profound. Listen, we do not have to leave it in their hands. We should not allow them to do what they have to do. We have to only we can let them do what they want to do, but we have the choice. Ambazonians have the choice to decide what they want, because we own the land. It is our territory. So again, I think the only thing we can do right now is continue to knock the doors, continue knocking the doors, explaining our case. Listen, nothing good comes easily. Nothing good comes easily. We were told the Southern Sudanese can never be an independent nation. We were told Eritrea can never be an independent nation. And so on and so forth. They were first of all denied before then accepted. That is the route we are traveling right now. The only people that will fail us is us. Again, the only people that will fail us is us. When Ambazonians get tired giving their money to prosecute, with which we prosecute this revolution, when we lost whole of the boys standing, putting their lives on the front lines on the ground, if we lost them because they cannot have enough money to buy the equipment they need, if we lost our patience, again, everything lies in our palms. They say, the Bible says, with God all things are possible, and say it also says God help those who help themselves. Everything lies in our hands. Thank you for the call, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me see who else may be online. Okay. Why the calls are coming in, I just want to remind you, ladies and gentlemen, to please go to the website GoFundMe, and please support the funeral service. Support the funeral service for Honorable Danny Koo. Go to the website GoFundMe. Please support the funeral service. Support the funeral service of our comrade who went home recently. Support the family, support the funeral program of Danny Koo. And also, I just want to remind you, ABC app is very much available for download for those of you with Android phones, Android gadgets. We are still working for the iOS version of ABC app. With ABC app, you are able to watch ABC 24/7, no matter where you are. at any moment, at any time, for as long as you have internet and you have phone. All right. In the absence of any other call, I don't know what is happening with the calls today. I hope Ground Zero is watching. I hope Ground Zero is watching. I don't have, there doesn't appear to be any call coming from Ground Zero or from anywhere. So, in the absence of any call, I definitely will call it a day or call it a night here on ABC. But once more, I will